Ablutions wudu. Chapter: The cleaning of the nose by putting water in it, and then blowing it out during ablution. Hadith 161. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, "Whoever performs ablution should clean his nose with water by putting the water in it and then blowing it out, and whoever cleans his private parts with stones should do it with odd number of stones." Chapter: To clean the private parts with odd number of stones. Hadith 162. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's Messenger said, "If any one of you performs ablution, he should put water in his nose, and then blow it out, and whoever cleans his private parts with stones should do so with odd numbers. And whoever wakes up from his sleep should wash his hands before putting them in the water for ablution, because nobody knows where his hands were during sleep." Chapter: Washing both feet, and it is not sufficient to pass wet hands over the feet. Hadith 163. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr, the Prophet remained behind us on a journey. He joined us while we were performing ablution for the Asr prayer, which was overdue, and we were just passing wet hands over our feet, not washing them thoroughly, so he addressed us in a loud voice saying twice, "Save your heels from the fire." Chapter: To rinse the mouth with water while performing ablution. Hadith 164. Narrated Humran, the freed slave of Uthman bin Affan, saw Uthman bin Affan asking for a tumbler of water to perform ablution, and when it was brought, he poured water from it over his hands, and washed them thrice, and then put his right hand in the water container and rinsed his mouth and washed his nose by putting water in it, and then blowing it out. Then he washed his face thrice, and then forearms up to the elbows thrice, then passed his wet hands over his head, and then washed each foot thrice. After that Uthman said, "I saw the Prophet performing ablution like this of mine, and he said, if anyone performs ablution like that of mine and offers a 2-rakat prayer during which he does not think of anything else not related to the present prayer, then his past sins will be forgiven." Chapter: The washing of heels during ablution. Hadith 165. Narrated Muhammad ibn Ziyad, I heard Abu Huraira saying as he passed by us while the people were performing ablution from a utensil containing water, "Perform ablution perfectly and thoroughly for Abul Qasim." The Prophet said, "Save your heels from the hell fire." Chapter: Washing the feet when one is wearing the shoes, and it is not sufficient for one to pass a wet hand over the shoes, but one should take off the shoes and wash one's feet. Hadith 166. Narrated Ubayd ibn Juray, I asked Abdullah bin Umar, "O Abu Abdurrahman, I saw you doing 4 things which I never saw being done by any one of you companions." Abdullah bin Umar said, "What are those, O Ibn Juray?" I said, "I never saw you touching any corner of the Kaaba except these 2 facing South Yemen, and I saw you wearing shoes made of tan leather and dyeing your hair with henna, a kind of red dye. I also noticed that whenever you were in Mecca, the people assume ihram on seeing the new moon crescent one street of Dhul Hijjah, while you did not assume the Ilal ihram. Ihram is also called Ilal, which means loud calling, because a Muhrim has to recite Talbiyah aloud when assuming the state of ihram till the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, day of Tarwiyah." Abdullah replied, "Regarding the corners of Kaaba, I never saw Allah's Messenger touching except those facing South Yemen, and regarding the tan leather shoes, no doubt I saw Allah's Messenger wearing non-hairy shoes, and he used to perform ablution while wearing the shoes. I wash his feet and then put on the shoes, so I love to wear similar shoes." And about the dyeing of hair with henna, no doubt I saw Allah's Messenger dyeing his hair with it, and that is why I like to dye my hair with it. Regarding Ilal, I did not see Allah's Messenger assuming Ilal till he set out for Hajj on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Chapter: While performing ablution or taking a bath, one should start from the right side of the body. Hadith 167. Narrated Atiyah, that the Prophet at the time of washing his deceased daughter had said to them, "Start from the right side, beginning with those parts which are washed in ablution." Hadith 168. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet used to like to start from the right side on wearing shoes, combing his hair, and cleaning or washing himself, and on doing anything else. Chapter: To look for water for ablution when the time for the prayer is due. Hadith 169. Narrated Anas bin Malik, I saw Allah's Messenger when the Asr prayer was due, and the people searched for water to perform ablution, but they could not find it. Later on, a pot full of water for ablution was brought to Allah's Apostle. He put his hand in that pot and ordered the people to perform ablution from it. I saw the water springing out from underneath his fingers till all of them performed the ablution. It was one of the miracles of the Prophet. Chapter: What is said regarding the water with which human hair has been washed. Hadith 170. Narrated Ibn Sirin, I said to Abida, I have some of the hair of the Prophet which I got from Anas, or from his family. Abida replied, no doubt if I had a single hair of that it would have been dearer to me than the whole world, and whatever is in it. Hadith 171. Narrated Anas, when Allah's Messenger got his head shaved, Abu Talha was the first to take some of his hair. Chapter: If a dog drinks from the utensil of any one of you, then it is essential to wash it 7 times. Hadith 172. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's Messenger said, if a dog drinks from the utensil of any one of you, it is essential to wash it 7 times. Hadith 173. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, a man saw a dog eating mud from the severity of thirst. So, that man took a shoe and filled it with water and kept on pouring the water for the dog till it quenched its thirst. So Allah approved of his deed and made him to enter paradise. Hadith 174. And narrated Hamza bin Abdullah, my father said, during the lifetime of Allah's Apostle, the dogs used to urinate and pass through the mosques come and go. Nevertheless, they never used to sprinkle water on it urine of the dog. Hadith 175. Narrated Adi bin Hatim, I asked the Prophet about the hunting dogs, and he replied, if you let loose with Allah's name your tame dog, after a game, and it hunts it, you may eat it. But if the dog eats of that game, then do not eat it, because the dog has hunted it for itself. I further said, sometimes I send my dog for hunting and find another dog with it. He said, do not eat the game, for you have mentioned Allah's name only on sending your dog, and not the other dog. Chapter: Whosoever considers not to repeat ablution, except if something is discharged or passed from exit front or back private parts. Hadith 176. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's Messenger said, a person is considered in prayer as long as he is waiting for the prayer in the mosque, as long as he does not do hadith. A non-Arab man asked, O Abu Huraira, what is hadith? I replied, it is the passing of wind from the anus that is one of the types of hadith. Hadith 177. Narrated Abad bin Tamim, my uncle said, the Prophet said, one should not leave his prayer unless he hears sound or smells something. Hadith 178. Narrated Ali, I used to get emotional urethral discharges frequently and felt shy to ask Allah's Messenger about it. So I requested Al-Miqdad bin al-Aswad to ask the Prophet about it. Al-Miqdad asked him and he replied, one has to perform ablution after it. Hadith 179. Narrated Zayd bin Khalid, I asked Uthman bin Affan about a person who engaged in intercourse, but did no discharge. Uthman replied, he should perform ablution like the one for an ordinary prayer, but he must wash his penis. Uthman added, I heard it from Allah's Messenger. I asked Ali az-Zubair, Talha and Ubay bin Ka'bi about it, and they too gave the same reply. This order was cancelled later on, and taking a bath became necessary for such cases. Hadith 180. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's Messenger sent for an Ansari man who came with water dropping from his head. The Prophet said, perhaps we have forced you to hurry up, haven't we? The Ansari replied, yes. Allah's Messenger further said, if you are forced to hurry up during intercourse or you do not discharge, then ablution is due on you. This order was cancelled later on, that is, one has to take a bath.